You know, I take my clients through full body warm-ups and mobility drills all the time, and I just realized I have no follow along program on my YouTube channel. That stops right now. In this video, I'm going to take you through a full body mobility drill from ankles all the way to the neck. I actually have no idea how long it's going to take, but hopefully you enjoy it. You ready? Let's go. Alrighty, so all you need is a foam roller and some type of lacrosse ball or tennis ball or something like that we can dig into this tissue. So the first thing that we're gonna do is to first unravel the most common tight and overactive muscles in the body, and then we're gonna mobilize the body one joint at a time. So first thing is you're gonna grab a foam roller, whatever that you have, doesn't matter. This is the Rollga foam roller. I really like this one because of the curvatures. You can actually get into the muscles a little bit better. But we're gonna start with the calves. So essentially just gonna put the calves directly on the foam roller, and then I'm taking my other leg and placing it on top. So notice I have my right leg at the bottom, left leg at the top. And most people end up rolling up and down the foam roller like this. That really doesn't do that much. I want you to try and pin that tissue with the other leg and then move the foot that's at the bottom. And you'll realize that as you're pinning it and you're moving the foot, the tissue starts gliding underneath, and you'll feel those knots like really gunky in there. Find a spot where you're like, holy crap, that does not feel good. Work on that a little bit. Breathe and let that tension go. Most important part about a foam roller is that you don't want to put so much pressure on it that you can barely breathe. If this leg on top is too much, you can totally just let that leg go and use gravity to open up those tissues. Why I'm asking you to move the foot is because the fascia starts gliding, and even if tissues are tight, tightness isn't the issue. Tightness with movement is the issue. So if the brain doesn't know that a tight muscle can actually move, then it's not going to want to move. So essentially what this is doing is that if I'm pinning on that specific muscle and I'm moving that tissue, the brain goes, oh my God, that is so tight, but I can still move. Why do I need to be tight? Then it opens up a little bit more. So notice what I'm doing is I'm just gliding up the calf a little bit at a time, and then just pumping the foot 5-6 times up and down. It might start fatiguing in the shins. Don't worry about that too much. Just try not to pull too hard. Then just move it a little bit so you can feel the tissues underneath, and then I keep going higher to the top of the calf. So starting from the bottom, work your way up to the calf, and also notice that there's a lot of other calves. You can turn inwards and then move the foot up and down. So you can turn the leg out and move the leg up and down. So take this opportunity to start exploring all the tight spots. So the calves are essentially the shock absorbers of your entire body. It's like the suspension of the car, right? So if the suspension is rusty and it's tight and too stiff, the rest of the car is going to have a bumpy ride. So ultimately we want to make sure that the calves are functioning right, so there's eliminating the shock to the knees and the hip and the lower back and the neck. So many times we have knee issues just because the calves are so tight and it's not absorbing shock the right way. So definitely spend a lot of time working on this, and that's why I'm spending more time here. So switch legs if you haven't already. Start at the bottom, take the other leg, put it to the top, and then start moving through. Make sure you're breathing into these and slowly work your way. So notice I'm playing around with moving my foot up and down, drawing circles. Feel free to explore. Remember, find tilting in, tilting out. Essentially 5-6 pumps on one side, and then 5-6 pumps, and then move up the calf as you go. So take this opportunity. It's one of those when you find a nice, really tight spot, you'll know, and then work on that and breathe through it. Yep, nice and slow. Keep moving up and down. Explore the whole calf. Oh, another thing I want to point out with releasing tight tissues is that it's never going to completely dissipate. So try not to spend an hour on a specific muscle, as long as you decrease 1 or 2 tension points. So for example, if this calf right here is so tight, it's like a 7 out of 10, then I'm like, oh my God, you gotta work on it. Breathe through it, move the foot around, and if that 7 out of 10 becomes a 6.5 or 6, then move on to another spot. And then collectively, if you do this consistently over time, usually within a couple of weeks, you will notice significant difference. That 7 is on average a 5 or a 4. And then once all tissues in the body becomes usually a 3 out of 10, it's actually working really, really well, and you don't have to worry about too much. Okay, so that's pretty much the calf. Now just stand up and move around. Try to take a walk and see like, ooh, do things feel a little bit better? Usually, if you have like knee issues and lower back stuff, a lot of times this will take away a lot of that tension already. So, from the calves, now we're gonna work on the inside of the legs, and these are the adductors. So, inside of the leg, super common for knee issues as well. So most of the times if you're lunging and we're squatting and the knees are buckling in, or if you're sitting a lot and you're crossing the legs, these inside muscles get really, really tight. So you're gonna lie on the foam roller like this. Notice I'm in this plank position, and then all you're gonna do is start closer to the inside of the knee, find a nice position that you can kind of just like rest your body in, and then pump the leg up and down. So you don't have to fully straighten and like flex and tense. The whole idea is to relax into these movements. So essentially just pin it, move it, breathe into it, let the body go. So notice the foam roller is orthogonal, as in 90 degrees to my thigh, and you're just moving up and down. Breathe into that. Once that tension dissipates a little bit, move closer towards the groin, and then move up and down. Slow, deep breaths. This is probably one of the worst things you've ever felt in your life. So have fun with that and work through it nice and slow, and make sure you breathe out that tension. Now scoot back a little bit more so you can find, so you can see the frame a little bit better. But so that's one thing I really like about this Rollga, is that these little contours you can bend into these positions a little bit more, so that the contour actually dips between the two fascia muscles. The contour actually dips between the two fascia and splits the muscle, and so that it creates even more space and movement in the muscle tissue and stuff. Keep moving towards the groin. Slow, deep breaths. You'll find one spot that's like really, really stubborn. Hey, ball, get over here. And make sure that you breathe through that a little bit better. So slow down your breaths. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale. Release that tension. A lot of times you can take this as like a meditative approach, as in if you have a lot of stress or someone's just being a complete butthead, what you can do is take in all of that stress and feel that tension in the muscle, but as you exhale, let all of that tension go along with the tension in the muscle. So focus on something that's bothering you, and then exhale that tension out along with the muscle that you're working on right over there. Sometimes emotions can actually be embedded in tissues. So if you find a release point where you feel like a lot of emotional relief is coming from there, make sure you process that and breathe that out. Cool. Let's switch sides. Get to the other adductor. So notice foam roller, diagonal, place the other leg 90 degrees on top, and then simply just pin into this position. If you feel like you're pinching into the lower back, what you can do is essentially prop your body up so that you're holding that knee and you're moving the leg like that. So coming from this angle so you can see a little bit better, is that you're holding the leg up and then you're moving through. So the whole idea of rolling out is to essentially just explore where the tension is at within your body, and learn that the tension, or learn to exhale that tension out so that it no longer needs to be there. Then the fascia and the muscle just starts functioning a little bit better. The brain goes, hey, I can stay loose for a little bit longer. I like that. I'm gonna keep it, and go from there. Yep, keep working, breathing to the inside of the leg. A lot of times, most people have a lot of tension in the front and in the middle. When you get closer to the groin, not so bad, but you might be one of those that's just like, holy crap, this whole thing is just god awful. So just work on as much of it as needed. Slow, deep breaths. Choose to let that go and go from there. Cool. All right. So stand up again, feel free, just see how things feel. If it feels better, that just means that these are the muscles you need to work on. If things actually feel worse and things feel tighter or induces more pain or whatever it is, then don't do that specific release. Cool. The next one we're gonna go into is the traps over here. So you're gonna take the ball, place it directly on the trap. So the trap muscles is literally, if you take the hand and cup it at the top, this whole piece is the trap. And a very, very common overactive muscle if you got shoulder issues, if you have neck tension and pain, a lot of stress and anxiety, most of the times we carry it up over here. So it's never a bad idea to just find that muscle, pin it. So you put in the ball over there, relax into that movement, and then from here, you might not feel anything, but as soon as you move the arm up, you'll be like, oh, there it is, and you just work on that. If you still feel no tension, like wiggle around a little bit until you find something. And if you still can't feel much, you can elevate the hip a little bit so the angle is dipping down into the ball, and you work on that. What's up, Ben? You all good? Keep going. Just and breathe into those tissues. So notice what I'm doing, I'm moving the arm. So a lot of the times, because we have shoulder issues and this muscle is so tight that it's locking that joint, and the brain doesn't know that the arms can actually move. So when you move the arm, the brain goes, oh, okay, like that actually doesn't hurt anymore because the fascia underneath is actually opening up and is giving the shoulder more range to breathe and move. Then when the ball is no longer there, the brain still remembers that it's allowed to move without pain, and you might not have any more pain. Sometimes it's that simple. When this simple stuff doesn't work, that's usually where I come in person to try and figure out the remaining pieces. But if this is already helping, that's huge. Keep doing it and breathe through that and go from there. Cool. If you haven't, now we can switch sides, go onto the opposite trap, take the ball, pin it, lean into it, find that nice little stubborn spot, breathe, open it up, and go from there. So I already have these in my ramp method playlist, but this is just a follow along thing so that you can keep going through it. But if you like to take a look at that playlist for the more of a reasoning behind it, feel free. I should have that eye icon somewhere in the corner of the screen so that you can click on that link and follow that entire playlist. This is how I guide all of my clients through the initial process of training with me, where we first release these tight overactive muscles to unravel all of that neurological tension in those tissues. Then we learn to reset the nervous system and then activate all those big muscles within the body so that it's prepped for the movements that we want to do within our workouts and everyday life and stuff. Cool. So that was the traps. The next one is going to be the pec over here. So there's multiple methods. Since I'm on the ground and I don't want to mess with the mic, what you can do is actually just use your hands. So I'm just going to scoop in over here. And we're actually going to start not just on the pec, but the subclavius muscle. So the subclavius is this, if you see that collarbone over there, if you just go just underneath that collarbone and press into that muscle underneath over there, that's usually really, really gnarly, and it connects from the sternum inside that, and it goes all the way through into the pec minor over here. So this line of muscle just underneath that collarbone, you can literally just use a couple of fingers, so use like 2 fingers or 3 fingers, poke on that spot, and then push into the tissue, push into your body, and then shift it and draw little circles. So notice I'm kind of just like massaging it, drawing little circles. If the hands are getting tired, you can take the other hand, cup it on top, and rotate it around. And it's probably really, really tender. So don't push too hard, breathe into it nice and slow. And this is a very, very commonly overactive muscle, especially because we usually hunch forward like this if you're in front of the desk or computer work or driving a lot or even on your cell phone playing video games or whatever it is. These muscles get very, very jammed up. And a lot of the times, neck tension, even mid-back tension over here, comes from the subclavius muscle being so compressed that we're trying to open up and get a better posture, but the front line is so tight that it's winning that tug of war, and it's not letting the body open. So when you work on these tissues and keep going towards the pec and open that up, then the brain goes, hey, it's not so bad. And then you can actually get a better posture passively. So work into those and go from there. So in my rant video, I just don't want to mess with the mic over here, but in that one, you can use the ball, place it over here, same thing, and then lean into a wall or a pillar, and then you're going to move the arm up and down as well. It's going to be tougher like using your own hand to pin it and move up, but that could work a little bit. You can also try that on the ground and do the same thing. So we're going to get into the other side, but I like to teach hand massage techniques too, because if you're at work and you feel like the neck is really tight, this is all you need. You don't have to pop on the floor, find a wall, and be a crazy person like leaning on the wall. Just use your own hands and move it around. Ooh, one extra thing that you can do from here is that once you found that nice little tender stubborn spot, pin it, and then just keep pushing down into it, and you can move the neck, and you can feel that tissue actually start shifting underneath the fingertips. If you have shoulder issues, you can also move the arm up and down. You can probably feel like this is really, really tight, and it's probably opening up a little bit too. So again, disclaimer, if you're doing these releases and it makes it worse, probably not the thing to do. Find something else that will work. Not every tight muscle actually needs to be released. Sometimes releasing a tight muscle makes it worse, and if that's the case, that's not something that you actually want to work on. That's something you want to avoid, because usually it's another tight muscle that's causing that to not feel good. All right, notice I'm just moving my arm as I'm pinning, so you can get creative with this. Ultimately, you just want to pin a tissue and move the limb that's related to the tissue and go from there. All right, take a breath and just see how things feel. It might be really, really different. So we're gonna do one more for the trap with our own hands. So what you're gonna do is grip the opposite side of the body, opposite trap over here. I'm pulling the elbow down, and then from here, I'm turning the head towards the shoulder, and then I'm rotating the head up and diagonally towards the opposite side. So pin, rotate. Nice and slow movements, and just let those tissues go. So notice I'm constantly pulling my hand down and rotating, just like 5 or 6 passes. So if you've been working a lot, sitting in front of a desk or whatever it is, you can literally just do this as a quick little reset and open those tight tissues. All right, cool. So last one of the releases, then we're gonna get into the joint by joint mobility stuff, is gonna be opening up the upper back, which is the T-spine over here. So if you're hunching forward quite a lot, you wanna teach the upper back to start bending. So you're gonna bring the foam roller towards the mid part of the back. Another reason why I like the Rollga is because these crevices go right between the spines, so if the spine's not on the foam roller, which makes it feel way more comfortable. But from here, all you're gonna do is hug the head, take a deep breath in, exhale, and then kind of just like let gravity pull your body back down, and then breathe in, do like a half crunch, exhale, and reach back. So notice what I'm doing is actually I'm kind of exhaling and keeping my core semi-taut. So you're not bracing so hard, but you're keeping this slightly engaged so that you're not bending with the lower back. If I'm bending from the lower back, it kind of looks like this. Notice how much further I can go because my lower back is opening from here, it's arching. But if I flatten the lower back, my upper back is the main thing that's bending. So try to envision that you're only bending from the foam roller and above, and nothing lower moves around too much. So take a deep breath in, exhale, lean back, breathe, exhale, lean back. You might feel some hesitancy over here because the spine, if you've never done this before, it probably hasn't bent backwards before, but it's supposed to. And because usually the upper back doesn't like to bend, then we start overcompensating from the lower back, and we only know how to move from the lower back, hence we get lower back pain. So notice how all of this is actually related, and we just have to learn to move the body all the way through. And you want to get closer and closer up towards the neck, so essentially you can move up a couple of vertebrae from the middle of the back, a couple of vertebrae up, breathe, exhale, pump it a few times, then move up again, and breathe, exhale, let it go up a couple times, a couple vertebrae, breathe, exhale, let it go. So you're essentially just teaching each section of the spine to be able to open up, and then stand up. See how that feels. It should feel pretty damn awesome. If this is the first time you watched any of my movement advice, you might feel considerably different than how you usually use the foam roller. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more intent to what you're doing, so that the stuff that you do from here on out is a little bit more effective. So from here on out, let's go through some movements. All right, so after you do the release, just stand up, shake things loose, and see how things feel. So ultimately, we open up the calves, we open up the chest and the upper trap. So basically, the whole body should feel a little bit looser now. It should feel like you kind of had like a full body massage type of thing. And if you do, that's really good. Now we're gonna build the connection to be able to integrate all these movements so that your body will be able to learn how to move the joints a little bit better. So first thing we're gonna do is actually start mobilizing the ankle. So notice what I'm doing is I'm just lifting the toes up as high as I can, and then I'm finding the tripod. So the tripod is these 3 points in the foot. You have the inside, the outside, and that heel. Notice that kind of draws this triangle, hence tripod, and we want to anchor all of that into the ground. So when you lift the toes up, you're going to find that tripod, and you want to especially try and get the outer tripod to engage with the ground. From here, gently place the toes down, but don't lose that tripod. And if you see that, you actually have this space underneath the foot the entire time, and that's where the arches naturally have to activate. Whether you're flat-footed or not, when you lift the toes up, notice the arches will naturally lift. Keep that lift over there, find that tripod, gently place the toes down, and now find even distribution in that whole foot onto the ground. Most of the times, our feet either pronate or they go all the way out, and we're rocking either on the inside or the outside of the foot without learning how everything fits together. Hello. Hey, how's it going? Go for it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. So from here, all we're gonna do is just start rolling the ankles back and forth. So many of the times we sprain our ankles because we're going out and the brain doesn't have the strength to be able to hold that position. So in very, very fast movements, we end up spraining. So now we're doing it very slowly. You don't go into pain, go into as far as your body naturally wants to allow you to get to. And you're essentially training the resilience of that joint to get a little bit stronger. So notice I'm rocking back and forth onto my right leg, doing this 5 to 10 times. And then now I'm gonna rock to the left leg, so switch directions. And notice, try to keep a nice, tall posture, and then just shift your weight onto the ankle, and you're just rocking back and forth. Good. From here, now feet just hip width apart, and now we're gonna rotate as far as you can. Yeah, you're good, go for it. And rotate, and just turn the body as far as comfortable. And ultimately, you just want to teach that the ankles are allowed to rotate and turn along with the hip. Nice slow breaths at a time. Perfect. All right, so now we're gonna get into the toes. You're gonna curl the toes down, and then you're gonna start pushing that heel forward. So notice you're curling the toes and pushing. Go as far as your body naturally wants to go. Most of the times we don't have this amount of mobility, and you want to slowly work your way into getting that a little bit better. Now you can start drawing circles with the closed toes. Just do like 5 on one side, switch directions, 5 on the other side, 2, 1, and then switch. Now curl the toes and then draw little circles. 5 on the outside, and rotate back in, 5 on the inside. And we're just gonna push back and forth because I forgot that one. So drive your heels forward and back, good. Now we're going to bend the toes. So now notice I'm just bending the toes, so stagger your stance, bend the back toe, and then shift, and then lift that heel up to the ceiling as high as you can. Then you're gonna push the heel down using the toes to stabilize and press into it. Now you're gonna bend the knee to stretch the bottom of the calf over here. So notice what I'm doing, bending the knee, straightening the knee, pushing the ball of the foot down so the heel lifts. Then I'm pushing the ball of the foot down and decelerating that heel down to the ground. Bend the knee, extend the knee, straighten it up, push the foot down so the heel lifts as high as you can, and then keep pushing as you lower the heel back down. Let's go one more time. Bend the knee, extend the knee, push the foot down, elevate the body, and then keep pushing the foot down as you decelerate that heel. Good. Switch sides. So, bend the knee first, lean into the heel, extend the knee, push all the way up, slowly push, decelerate with the foot. So the arch is essentially slowing you down, and then bend the knee as far as your body naturally wants to go. Extend, straighten, use the foot, push up into the ceiling, decelerate slowly down, and then bend the knee again. Good, extend and push, decelerate with the arch of the foot, and bend. Cool, all right, test that out, see how things feel. Awesome. So now we're gonna get into the hips. In this position, it's called the 90-90, like 90-90 shin box position. So you're gonna bend both knees. In the beginning, you can start with the foot close to the knee, and then you're gonna rotate the chest down towards that knee in front. So I have my left leg in front. I'm dipping the center of my chest down towards that left knee. Take a deep breath in. You're gonna push that knee down into the ground and drive your body away from the floor. When you get to the top, you might feel some crappy, awful feeling in here. That's very, very normal. As long as it's not jamming so hard that you can't move. This, over time, we want that to go away because we want to be able to sit into this position. But it's okay. Breathe from here. Exhale down to this position. Decelerate with that leg. You should feel that back left glute working. Deep breath in. Exhale, push that knee away, extend the body. We're gonna do that one more time. Deep breath in, lean that chest into the body. Breath again, exhale, push that body away. Good, so that's activating the hip. Now we're gonna flip the knees over and do the same thing on the opposite side. So turn that chest towards that front knee, dip forward, take a deep breath, exhale, push your body away to the top. A couple more times, deep breath in, inhale, feel that glute stretch and then push away. Use that glute to drive you up. So muscles work the best. Keep repeating that. Muscles work the best if they learn how to get tension under length. So notice we're elongating the muscle over here, but then we're also building that strength to be able to push away from the ground, and that's what builds more resilience over time. Cool. So that's from the hip. Now we're just gonna rotate it a little bit more. So just lie back if you want to, or if you have the mobility, you can sit up tall. And we're just going to do hip rotations over here. So notice the knees are flipping over the foot. Foot stays in the same place relatively, and then move around. Nice slow breaths. All right, there's so many different variations, but let's just go through these today. If you like this, let me know. I'll film a whole nother video on completely different things, and we'll just keep updating the series as we go from there. Nice slow breaths and move through these movements. Cool. Let's go to the shoulders this time. So first thing we're gonna do is simply just learn to be able to breathe and expand that collarbone up and open. So instead of only extending from your lower back, I actually want you to try and lock this position. So you're gonna clench the butt cheeks a little bit so that the pelvis is more neutral, and tighten up the core just a little bit, but you're gonna breathe, open, expand that collarbone, and then notice I'm pulling my elbows back behind me and squeezing them together, and you're opening up these muscles, or you're closing these muscles, as in you're squeezing them behind you. And then this time, now you're gonna breathe, open up those muscles. So I'm reaching those elbows forward, giving yourself a hunch back. Don't lose the butt cheeks though. And you're breathing, and think that you're expanding your breath into the side of the rib cage over here. So deep breath in, exhale, pull the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades, really engage them as much as you can. Another breath, exhale, reach forward, reach the elbows, open up the mid back, slow deep breaths, reset the breath, and exhale, open, squeeze, pull the elbows together, and try and relax that neck. You might realize that it's tensing when you're doing this. Try and kind of let that go. One more time, breathe in, reach, hunch, and glide those elbows and reach them forward and out as much as you can. Come back to the middle and shake things loose, let things relax. All right, so this time we're gonna get the wrists and the shoulders to move at the same time. So what you're gonna do, let's start with the right hand. You're gonna squeeze the fist of your right hand, try and curl the pinkies down towards you. So you're gonna curl this way. So notice it's pointing up towards the body, and I'm rotating out. So as I'm rotating out, I'm gonna reach up in front of me, go all the way up towards the ceiling. From here, you're gonna turn the pinkies away from you, keep reaching away, draw nice big circles. And from here, you'll probably feel that bicep stretch over here. Curl the wrist back behind you, all the way down. So notice when you get back to the bottom, the wrist is still curled, facing your hip. Keep reaching forward, fists are pointing up towards the ceiling. Go all the way up, rotate the shoulder, fist is pointing towards your ear. Now I want you to turn the fist away from the ear. Keep turning that arm, turn, 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 and reach behind you. Keep reaching, reaching. Feel that bicep stretch, open up the shoulder, come back into the middle. Let's go for one more. Curl the wrist, reach forward, fist is pointing up towards the ceiling. Keep reaching, reaching. Now the fist is pointing towards your face. Turn the fist away from the body, turn the pinkies behind you. Keep turning as you're rotating the body, and slowly back down. Cool. Shake things loose. A lot of times we have a disconnect in what the wrist's relationship is towards the shoulder. So if we can open up that entire line and build that relationship, cool things will happen. Switch sides. So curl the wrist in, let it face up towards the ceiling over here. Reach that arm forward, reach, 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 reach. Notice I'm gliding in my armpit and lengthening the body the entire time. Pull up towards the ceiling. Fist should be pointing your ear. Turn the pinkies away from you. Keep turning, turning, turning as you reach away. If you have a pinch in the shoulder, don't go this far. Go before you feel any pinch, okay? Turn the fist in, reach, pointing up towards the ceiling. Oh, and make sure you're breathing. Deep breaths, exhale. Once it reaches the top of the head, turn that pinky away. Keep turning that shoulder as far away from your body as possible. Lengthen the arm all the way down. Let's go for one more. Pinky is facing up towards the ceiling. Reach, 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 reach. Turn away, elongate all the way through, back and down. Whew. All right, so now we're just gonna do a couple of reps by building both of it. So this time fist will stay open. So relaxed hands, and all you're gonna do is start with one arm forward, one arm behind you, and then all you're gonna do is reach, elongate the body as long as possible. You're gonna simultaneously move one arm up, one arm down towards the floor, extend the other arm back behind you and the other arm in front, rotate up. So essentially we're just drawing big circles
Slow, deep breaths the whole time, and the whole idea is to try elongate the arms as far away from you as possible. So even at this top position, think that you're reaching up towards the ceiling, pushing down towards the floor. When you go in parallel, reach both arms away from each other, all the way up. Reach, 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 reach. Slow, deep breaths. Back up to the top. And just relax. Awesome. Cool. So now we're just going to move the wrist and the neck, and that will be done for 2 days. So interlock your fingers. I want you to squeeze them a little bit, like 50%, and then just tilt them from side to side. So essentially one is pushing, one is pulling, and then from here, what you can do is tilt in the same direction as the wrist. So if the wrist is turning to the left, tilt the head to the left, turn to the right, tilt the head and the ear to the right. Try to keep a nice tall spine the entire time. Tilt from one side to the other, slow deep breaths each time. Good. Back to the center, keep squeezing the fist. You're going to tilt the wrist forward, tuck the chin down, tilt the wrist back, open up the collarbone, tuck the chin back. A couple more times, tilt forward, chin forward, tilt back, head back. One more time, slow deep breaths, tilt forward, tilt back, head up. Cool. Relax everything. All right, and now we're just gonna get a little bit of head rotation. So have your hands wherever you naturally want it to be. Now you're just gonna rotate the head to the side, tuck the chin towards the body, rotate to the center, turn to the opposite shoulder, look up towards the ceiling, rotate up, look to one side, chin to the shoulder, down to the collarbone, chin to the opposite shoulder, all the way up. At the top, switch direction, turn to the opposite shoulder, chin down to the ground, chin to one side, all the way up. One more circle. Nice slow circles, chin down to the shoulder, to the collarbone, opposite shoulder, and up. Make sure to try and move the eyes along with the head all of the time. A lot of times you just have a disconnect of how the eyes are moving versus how the head is moving, and that's usually why we hold on to so much tension within the body. All right, how you guys feeling? That's it for today. There'll be a lot more coming from this if the feedback goes well. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. The Rollga stuff over here, I'm gonna link their website. I'm not affiliated with it, I just really like their product, so feel free to go explore and use it if you want. My name is Andy Shea from Movement Reborn. Have an awesome day. Peace!